All right,
I'm in Oregon at the moment.
we are recording.
Dia, you're actually in Oregon?
Yes, for a
Well,
couple more days.
for a couple more days. Well, welcome to Oregon. And I see an L over there, and I don't know who L is.
Oh, Laurie.
Lori O'Connor, Mark, in
Okay.
Running County and in Burns, Oregon, and I'm a humble little cataloger.
Well, we're all humble in our own ways, and hopefully we're all littler than we could be. So, my stomach is, yeah, whatever. I'm sorry. I love a joke, so I will make jokes. MP, I don't know who MP is.
That's Maggie.
Oh, MP.
That's Maggie from the Dells.
I'm from the Dalles, she says in a note to the side. Thank you, Maggie, for being with us. And the next one over, I don't have a name or anything even.
If you expand out the camera view side of your screen, it will actually show you the names they have.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, Anne.
But
Anne,
there
I
are
see
so
a
many
field.
views on there now, you have to take up half the screen in order to get them to pop up.
Okay. Anne, I see your ceiling and perhaps, oh, there's a face. Anne, where are you at?
I'm in Hood River, Oregon at the Hood River Valley High School.
Okay. Great.
And then I work part-time at the Hood River County under Rachel, so you kind of see me all over the place.
Multi-hats. There we go. Ryan LeGrand, I assume.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you for being with us. And John, where are you at, John? Just because I know you're probably not in Oregon.
No, I was born and raised in Oregon, but I actually live up on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington.
Okay, not in Forks.
No.
Okay.
The east side of the peninsula, just south of Fort Townsend.
All right. Well, Rachel's here. Hi, Rachel. Good to have you. And Delia Fields. I know Rachel is your Hood River along with Anne, right? Okay. And Delia, you're help me out here.
Yeah, I'm in Hermiston. I'm at Hermiston High School. Although Mark, I'm a few streets over. Yeah, anyway.
Well, this is what I get for trying to find out who everybody is, realizing I know more people than I think sometimes.
That is okay. That's okay. This is the first time I've been able to be on screen and stuff. I think we've all gotten much more used to the whole computer stuff, or maybe not so used to it. I don't know.
Well, here we are trying anyway. And now I've got Brittany Young. Brittany, what can you tell us about you since we don't see your face?
Hi, I am the library director at Blue Mountain Community College in Pendleton, Oregon.
Great. Okay, and there's our esteemed Perry Stokes, who has done so much for Sage and managing finances for so many different things. Like your staff manages Leo and Sage, don't you? Or do you?
Well, we're the fiscal agent for Sage.
Okay, well.
And I've been turning over I'm the treasurer for Leo, but I've been turning a lot of that over.
Well, and I had the opportunity to stop in and say howdy to Perry while he was actually in his office, and I wasn't wearing a mask. I was a bad boy. So we have one more, another MR, but that's not me. We have a Mary Reeser. Did I do it bad, Mary? Are you with us, Mary?
You did do it bad. It's Reeser. Like Reeser Stadium. But I'm from Gillum County.
Okay. Well, that's good to Mary, where are you at?
Gillum County, Condon.
Okay. Good to have you here. All right. So we have an agenda. And let's take a look. Let me see how I that's not what I was hoping for. No. Okay. Well, this is one of those times where we should all know much more than we used to. I still don't know enough. Trying to get the agenda to show up. I have it on my screen otherwise, but
So, Mark, when you answered the question to the share question, how did you answer that? Did you want to share all, or did you just share the application?
Honestly, I'm not sure right now.
Okay. I can be presenter again and bring up the agenda on my computer if that helps.
If you would do that, that would be lovely. Thank you so much, Beth. And I need to learn more.
Okay, now I got to find the right one. Okay. Okay, can you see the agenda?
I can now, yes, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so do we have a request to add anything to the agenda? I'll give you all a moment to look through what's on there.
Do we need to do officers since it's the beginning of a new fiscal year?
It is typically done at this meeting. I'm concerned whether we will have, Beth, isn't there a bit of an issue of whether we actually will have?
We're short a couple council members, and we haven't voted on the new set of council members because we were too short. And now with Marcia's retirement, we're actually 3 more short. So my thought was typically we vote on officers once we've gotten our full quota of council members. Am I thinking correctly?
I don't think that's what the bylaws say, but.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. I don't have them in front of me, so I don't know.
I think that's usually the way it works because I remember serving until like September or October every time I've been an officer.
But I think, Ryan, that was because we didn't have a quorum or anything.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's something we can add. Let's move on with what we have on the agenda at this time. And as we go through the replacement, the updates on the council positions, then we'll make a determination whether we feel like we're in a position to elect new officers or not. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, because I have no clue what's going on with any of it, so.
Okay. All right. So approval of the May minutes. We all received a copy yesterday, I believe. Has anybody had a chance to review that could make a motion to approve them or make corrections?
This is Dia. I sent 2 corrections to Beth to just insert a word, but everything else looked fine. So if everyone's okay with that, I would make a motion to approve the minutes with those two corrections.
This is Ryan and LeGrand. I'll second that motion.
Is there any discussion? Okay, we're going to do a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Hearing no opposition, we will make the assumption that we have approved it unanimously. Thank you. Committee reports. Cataloging committee. Who will be giving that report today? We have a cataloging committee report to receive today.
Are you not hearing me, John?
Hearing none.
Okay.
I'm hearing nothing at this point. I'm hearing a lot of silence.
Can you hear me now,
Sorry.
Mark? Mark?
I can. Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. For some reason, even though my mic showed live, you guys weren't hearing me. So I muted myself and then unmuted. I can report on the cataloging committee.
Thank you.
So the committee met last on June 7th. The topics covered in the meeting were the validation aids in MarcEdit that are available. We gave an update on a change that was made to the parts terminology document. And that had to do when there was sets with multiple seasons and just kind of clarifying the language that we wanted for consistency. A reminder for searching to try multiple searching methods in the Sage catalog before importing a record so that we avoid duplicates. A reminder that the children's subjects headings are a separate thesaurus, and they the subject headings can't be used interchangeably. So you need to do a lookup in Library of Congress to make sure you're using a correct subject heading. Another thing that we discussed was the audience fixed field. We noticed that some people have started putting an E in the audience field, and we talked about at the committee meeting that this should only be used when the material is exclusive to adult audiences. Ideally, the resource will identify that it's suggested for mature readers or have some verbiage that is similar. And we talked about the different audience levels, and that was pretty much it. Any catalogers have something to add to the cataloging committee overview that I just gave? Okay, I guess we're done, Mark.
Thank you. All right, let's take a look here. Next on our agenda is update on council positions, on open council positions. So we're kind of back at our council issue. We have how many total open positions now with Marcia absence?
We have five. Five open positions. Yes. So I sent out a message to the listserv asking for volunteers. I received a nomination for Maggie, and I checked with her to see if she was willing to serve on the council. She is. We have somebody for the public libraries 15,000 and above category. I spoke with Anne, and she is willing to serve another term. We actually have two positions open in the circulating schools. But we only had one filled this past year, so I'm hoping to get another circulating schools representative. I thought once the schools opened up again that I might be able to recruit somebody. Let's see. So the open positions we still have, we need somebody at the community college level. We need somebody in the 5,000 to 15,000 category, and somebody in the under 5,000 population served category. So I guess I'd like some feedback on what steps you think we should take next. Do I send out another plea for volunteers? Are there folks that we want to contact directly?
Okay, so I guess I would, I will take on the task of sending out some emails. I'm wondering if I can identify who our community colleges are and who the contact there is, as well as these other two groups, and just send them a message saying, you know, we have need of service for Sage Council from these groups. So, and then I'll have a sense, I mean, how many community colleges are there?
There's 4.
It's not like we're inundated. There's 4. And is anybody serving at this time?
Marcia was serving, but she retired.
Right.
So
So we have nobody from any of the 4 community colleges. Is that right?
correct.
Well,
Can I-
Brittany's here.
Can I ask, is Brittany interested?
So that's a somewhat complicated thing that I have to talk to Beth about after this. BMCC is facing a $4 million budget cut, and I can say for sure we are not going to be able to continue the ILLs, helping with the ILLs like we have been with the school looking at all of the numbers. So I don't know where that's going to go yet, but I am willing to make a trade of if somebody takes that over, I will serve on the Sage Council.
Okay, Brittany and I are scheduled for a Zoom call after this meeting, so we'll kind of get that ILL situation discussed and figure out what we can do there. It's basically a courier coverage is what we're talking about. Okay, so Brittany's a possibility.
Yes, I'm a possibility.
And that's great, but that means there's also 3 other schools out there that need to be considering being part of this as well. And I think it's only reasonable that there be some sharing of effort between the 4 schools of that somebody needs to be representing there, and how they go about determining that is fine with me. But at some point, we need to see somebody saying, yes, we can participate in this. It's a reasonable part of our effort to support Sage.
Yeah, I can work with you
So-
on that, Mark.
Okay.
Getting you some contacts and figuring out who we need to reach out to.
Okay, so Beth and I will talk about this. I will make some more outreach. With 5 positions absent, that means how many of us are present today? And I guess, you know, the question that I would have if we want to continue forward with officers, I know that Perry served as prior to my service, was the president of the group, I believe, or chair. I'm not sure what I am. Honestly, I know I'm in charge. And so now it's kind of a question of do we have anybody that's in a situation that they feel like they can be part of that as well, or take a role? I don't see anybody raising their hands.
I can take over. I've done it before
Right, I know you have, Ryan. I appreciate that.
with a lot of help from Beth.
Yeah, believe me, I'm getting plenty of help from Beth as well, which I very much appreciate. Thank you, Beth.
You're welcome.
Okay, so, you know, we need a chair and a vice chair, I assume. Do we need more than that as officers?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
We could, I think, appoint an interim until we have the vote. I mean, if we're going to do an electronic vote, we could continue to take nominations. We're still recruiting representatives.
Okay.
We could continue to recruit officers and have a vote electronically.
Right.
Ryan, if you want to be the interim president, that'd be great.
I can do
Or
that.
Mark, you can continue to be interim president.
You know,
But can Mark do that if he's no longer on the council?
ooh,
Because isn't your term up,
yeah.
Mark?
Yes.
Yeah, Mark's
it
term
is.
is up.
That was why I raised the thing in the very first place, was because I understood you were off.
okay.
So
Well, I'm glad somebody's following the policies and the guidance that we have. Well, I would be happy to nominate for interim chair of the Sage Council, Ryan McGinnis. Now, I'm not sure I'm actually allowed to do that, but since
I'll
it's
make
not,
that nomination. So we keep it straight.
thank you. Do we have a second?
Can I second my own nomination?
This is Ann in Big River, and I'll second it.
Okay.
We have several people apparently. We'll go ahead and go for the vote at this point. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
I
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition. Ryan, thank you. You are now interim chair of the Sage Council. You may
Power is
assume the
mine.
mantle of authority.
All right. It should come with a little hat or a trophy or something. It
I'll
would
work on one for you.
make
I've
it
got
that much
great
more
staff
fun.
to put something together really cute.
Yeah. I've got my fantasy football loser of the year trophy on my desk here, so should have other ones. That was there anything?
I will
other
still
updates
take on the role of asking the others if you're okay with that. I will do that.
Yeah. By all
I
means.
leave council, and we've got to have turnover and new blood.
All right. Do we have anything else we wanted to talk about in terms of the open council positions? Or shall we move on to the server replacement update, which was the thing I was going to ask about if it wasn't on the agenda today, because I was curious.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I was going to scroll down. I can't remember. Is Ann on? Ann's on today, isn't she?
Yes.
yes,
Ann,
here.
yeah, and you're on. So,
Yes.
yeah, and I know I'm special libraries now. I'm no longer the school ones, but and I may have been kind of drifty here, but Ann, you're coming off. Is that right?
She's coming
I
off.
was coming off as a school representative. However, Beth asked me to stay if I would run again because they need 2 positions and there's nobody. So I
Right.
offered to stay on.
Okay, I was saying.
Also
well,
on the cataloging committee, and I'm also a mentor.
Right. Well, I was just thinking, if you wanted, maybe you and I could send out like a personalized email. I was just going to go through the members, and I know people have been on before, like Debbie from Burns and things like that. But maybe just instead of a general blast, a specialized one to the member, high school ones to the emails that at least we have in the member list, and see if that generates, a little nudge and something that if you and I said, okay, I'm special members librarian. This is Ann from whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Just if you and I wanted to get together and just send an email nudge from you and I saying, if you're interested, it's not that much of a commitment. If you'd be willing to do that, do you think you and I, if we sent out that we might, you know what I'm saying, kind of prod?
Yeah.
Do you want to try that?
I think that's a great idea. I think in the email, I'll send you my information if you want, and we could send it as a united front. I think it's a great idea, and I think we should put in there when the different meetings are, because I feel like not only do we need to promote being on the council, but I think we need to promote that if whatever library it is, they have somebody in cataloging, that they could pop into a cataloging meeting in case they had questions, or they could pop into I mean, there's so many different committees that through the years used to have a bunch of members and a bunch of action and haven't, in my opinion, in the last 14 years. So I'd be totally into that. I'll send you my info.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, great.
Cool. All right. So the server replacement.
Okay. So all of the virtual machines have been built, and the 2 database servers are online. We've already gone ahead and done the preliminary replication from the old database server to the new database server, so that database sitting over there in the new network is already accurate and replicated.
I'm in a meeting.
The next step is to I'm waiting on Galen at Equinox. He was on vacation, so that we can formalize the next steps, and he's back in the office today, so I should hear back sometime today as to what the rest of the plan is for this week to try and get this all moved along as quickly as possible. Let's see. One thing that I can add is, the new system isn't going to have a lot of the issues that the current system has. It's designed to be have redundant sections of it that the current system doesn't have. So, for instance, like the issue that we had with the log server crashing, that won't be the case in the new system. It was kind of a learning curve this week. Well, not this week. This week just started. Last week with fixing everything that went down, because some of the things that in that system weren't being monitored by the Nagios Icinga tool that we use. But now that I know what needs to be added, I can add that to those. So that way I will be notified if the notifications, the auto renewals, things like that go down, which wasn't built into the existing system. And I've been in contact with Equinox about those issues to make sure that we got everything up and running. I know there's a question about auto renewals, so I'll just go ahead and mention that. Because of how the auto renewals are set, they're set within a 24-hour window. So if that is missed, they aren't automatically done. So we're going to have to go through, Beth and I, and fix that. But I got clarification on that as to why that happens from Equinox. And so we can make sure this doesn't happen again. As far as the new system, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add that those things that didn't get renewed and should have been renewed are going to be fixed. I'm working on that today. So for those libraries that have moved forward with auto renewals, I've pulled reports, and I'm going to be going through patron records and adjusting those so that their items are renewed like they should have been. So anyway, just kind of a heads up that things are going to be okay. And like John said, we've got it working now. We just have to take care of the stuff that didn't get renewed while the log server was not functioning correctly.
Yeah, and they've showed me some ways of how to check all of that, so that I have more tools, so to speak, in my toolbox on how to make sure that everything is up and performing the way it's supposed to be. So as far as the new system, like I said, there's going to be redundancy with failover virtual machines, and the new network is essentially what's called sandboxed, so that way only, we haven't had any issues with the existing system, but there is the possibility that someone on campus could find a way in. And so by having us on our completely own subnetwork that won't be an option because they will have to go through the firewalls in order to access any of the servers. Let's see, we're going to have the Z3950 and reports. Right, no, Z3950 and SIP are going to be on their own virtual machine. The reports and stuff will be its own instead of it being a combined unit. And we're going to add extra app servers to make sure that we can keep up with traffic. And we're going to have an extra load balancer in case the main one goes down for some reason. So do you have any questions about the existing system or the new system? Or, I mean, because I know the biggest question is when can we get it done? And I don't have an answer for that yet. I will notify you all as soon as I hear back from Galen.
That's a good segue into the next agenda item, the Evergreen upgrade. Obviously, we're waiting on Equinox to give us their time frame so that we can select a date for all this to happen. And hoping that we hear that news today so that we can share it with all of you, and that we can prepare. I'd like to do some demonstrations of the version that we're moving to kind of prepare folks, schedule some of those training sessions. But I need a date to kind of plan that. So look at your email. Hopefully we'll have some good news soon.
This is Dee. I just wanted to say thanks to both John and Beth for all the work you guys did the last week or so to try to keep us as much as you all could afloat and as quick as you responded. What I saw, and I wasn't on the system a lot, but what I saw, you guys were responding really quickly, and I know I really appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody else did too. So thanks, guys.
Happy to help.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I did want to say one more thing. So the way the issue that caused the log issue, the log server to crash, was the log server houses, or at least currently houses, all of the log files for basically all the other servers store their log files on the log server. And with that was one process I hadn't shifted over to the NAS yet because I didn't see a need to do that before the migration. And so I apologize for that. I apparently should have been monitoring the disk size more closely than I was. But in the new setup, all of that is going to be ported over to the NAS so that what caused that crash can't happen again. So I just thought I should probably say that.
Cool. Thank you. I'm excited for the new server. We're getting one here too in a little while. Actually, it's physically here. They just haven't set it up yet. So if that ends the server and Evergreen upgrades and replacements, I guess we're on to circulation policies and notices. It says Beth.
Yes. So during the COVID pandemic and all of the things that we needed to do in our libraries to adjust, we made some changes. One of the changes we made was the removal of the $5 limit. And some libraries since then have wanted to set a different dollar limit beyond which their account is restricted. And so I guess I wanted to bring it up as a discussion. Are we ready to put that $5 limit back on for Sage in general, for folks to get their accounts taken care of? And then also we made changes to notices with some different language having to do with maybe the library is closed, that there might be additional, the things will stay on the hold shelf while the library's closed. But anyways, just talking about, do we want to remove that extra text out of those notices now that our libraries are pretty much functioning back to normal. So anyway, open for discussion first on the $5, and then talk about the notices.
But we don't do overdue fines here in LeGrand anymore. So when people get bills on their cards, it's never as low as $5 anyway.
Right. So for your case, for the
so
library,
for us, it's not a $5 limit. I think the cheapest thing we have is around $7.
Yeah, but that brings to mind another discussion item for those libraries that have gone fine free. There is actually the ability to set a limit on the number of overdue items, so that also creates a kind of an incentive for folks, even though they're not getting charged. Maybe their account is restricted after 10 overdue items or 5 overdue items. Anyway, something for those libraries that have gone fine free to think about, employing that as an incentive to get things back.
I like that. That's interesting.
Okay.
I did not know that was an option.
Is the $5 cap written into circulation policy?
I believe.
For Sage?
I want to say it was, and we kind of, special circumstances with the whole COVID, there was a need to not restrict things because libraries couldn't, people couldn't get into the library to pay. I'll have to check, Perry. I don't know for sure.
I just did, and yes, it's there.
Okay. Thanks, Dia. So are folks okay with putting that back? Since it's a part of our policy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would move that we do reinstate it. At least until such time that the CIRC policy is adjusted or modified.
Yeah, I think there's a discussion to be had about upping the limit, but that should go through the CIRC committee and be approved in the CIRC policy document.
Okay.
We have a second to reinstitute the $5 policy for now.
I'll second it, Ms. Perry.
We have a motion and a second to re-implement the $5 overdue fine limit, and the suggestion that we discuss changing the limit in the policy at a later date. Do we have a show of hands for yes? Or for the people who don't have cameras, maybe an aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Hearing none, we'll reinstitute the $5 limit, and the people on the circulation committee can discuss changing the limit as they want to.
In regard to the notices, I thought I would go through the various notices and see if there's any special text that refers to delays, different things that were COVID related, and go ahead and remove those unless there's an objection.
Are those those scripts available to see anywhere outside of the internal code, the Evergreen code? Is there a document somewhere that we can look at them all?
There isn't, Perry, but we could certainly put one together if that would be useful. Do you want me to create that document and show the text before I change anything?
Yeah, if we're going to get in there and change stuff, we might make some other changes. We might see a need for other changes.
Okay.
To make it better.
Some of the notices are general to Sage. Some of the notices are specific to individual libraries. So do we just want to see in this document those things are just Sage related, or should I expand it and indicate who the owning library is of that particular notice?
You know, it might be helpful for us to see what some of the other libraries have put, because there may be some things there that others would be appreciative of having available as well. So that might be helpful if we can see all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I imagine you don't want different scripts for too many different libraries. That's just more work. So the more we can keep things consolidated, the better. So if we can all agree on the same scripts, that would be easier for administration.
Okay. All right, I've made a note to create that and send that out. So I guess we're done with this agenda item for now.
Okay. Looks like the last item we have on the agenda is the annual statistics.
Yeah, which is me too.
Sounds riveting.
This is just a reminder for me to talk about the fact that I'm going to be doing annual statistics again this year to supply to the state library, so that when you go to fill out your reports, those stats are in there for you. I typically get questions about this time of year, so I thought, oh, if I say something, you guys will know I'm working on it and hope to have them done. My goal is to have them done by the end of July.
And for those of us who participate in the Leo Listens or Overdrive programs separately, I did have a short video that I put out a few years ago, or a slide PDF or something, showing how to get your statistics for that from Overdrive. And if you just don't want to do it, I can help you do it as well.
So Ryan, would you be willing to send that video out again for those folks that either are new or need a reminder?
Yeah, I might actually have to recreate it, because I'm not sure I know where the file is on my computer anymore, because I got a new computer a couple of years ago, and I don't think that everything transferred like it was supposed to, because there are things I just can't find sometimes. So I'll look for it. If I can't find it, I'll make another one real fast and then send that out.
Okay,
so
wonderful.
You can listen to my lovely voice for 5 minutes on a video full of Overdrive website stuff. So yay.
Yay.
And was there anything else anybody wanted to talk about?
Ryan, when you send that, would you also send what the full numbers are? Because I know that's a question that often comes up, that we don't always have direct access
numbers
to.
are?
What the full numbers are for what Leo has. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like
how many books?
Oh, the collection
titles?
size.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I can do that. I don't think it's any different than the statewide one, other than Advantage titles, and I don't know if I have access to other libraries' advantage title stuff as a Legrand person.
I'm just speaking.
But I don't know if any other Leo libraries do advantage besides us right now.
I'm just speaking the standard collection.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
I think somebody from the Digital Library Consortium often sends that data out.
Yeah. But yeah, I can get that and just send it out to the Sage listserv too. Because I know they send it out on the ODLC listserv at some point, but not always when it's convenient or wanted.
Well,
by
and I'm
everybody.
not sure that all the libraries are subscribed to that either.
Yeah.
But I think if you have the both together, it would be really helpful for the libraries.
I'm supposed to be subscribed to it because I'm on the board, but I keep getting dropped off of it for some reason. It's really been frustrating. So
Thanks, Ryan.
yeah. So any other business? Anybody think of anything they wanted to talk about?
I'll just note that I posted a link to the Sage Financial Reports folder. It's got the documents from the end of the fiscal year, but there might still be some straggler invoices that will accrue back to it. And also just 20 days of this fiscal year reports.
Cool.
Thanks, Perry.
I think that sounds like that's it then. If somebody wants to adjourn the meeting for us.
Mark.
So does that put, I just wanted to double check, does that put our next meeting at September 21st? I just wanted to.
That sounds about right.
It does sound about right.
I have September 14th. Is that not this? No, it's, yeah, the third Tuesday is the 21st.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I will move that we adjourn, and thank you all for tolerating my bad humor and my dad humor, and I'll work on a hat for you, Ryan. Thank you.
You're just lucky we aren't on Zoom, because you'd be looking at the you've all seen that poster with the kitten hanging on the clothing line?
Ah,
I have a stormtrooper hanging on a clothing line.
cool. I have all sorts of funny backgrounds. Everyone's favorite seems to be donuts, but
Nice.
President Trump was what brought some interesting reactions too, though.
Mark, thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you very much.
Sage
you.
Chair.
Thanks, everybody, for attending today.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Bye, everybody.